again, Peru exists, so we know he did something right. And so what he did actually exactly was he took the Cortez method. He actually writes extensively about how he followed the method of Cortez, walked straight into the capital of Cusco. It's like, I demand to see your leader. This worked so well the first time. Well, it actually did work. On the diplomatic sense, Atahualpa was really feeling very full of himself, so he said, okay, fine, I'll see these strange white visitors. And he was actually like meditating in like some hot springs or something in the mountains after defeating like an entire empire. like Peru, like the Incan Empire had just like gone from like that big to like that big in like a few weeks, and so he was feeling pretty full of himself. And you have to understand that the Incas were not such pushovers as the Aztecs, if you can call the Aztecs pushovers. They had these things called the Andes. I mean, you might think the Andes are, well, I mean, it's hard to live in the Andes, right? But what it did was it made them cooperate, because you can grow, like, rice, you can grow there. And, like, corn, you can grow there. And if you want, like, ice, then you gotta go to the top of the mountain and hack it. If you want any water, quite frankly, you have to hack it out of the snowpack up here. So they had this strange lateral division of economies, right? Higher the altitude, different economies. And so they all really had a very central authority. Okay. So, they had very central authority, and so Atahualpa was feeling very in control of his empire in a way that Montezuma was not. Montezuma was always watching for backstabbers. Atahualpa, not so much, because if you kill Atahualpa, well, everyone's fucked because you rely on this coexistence. So Francisco Pizarro is like, hi, Atahualpa. They talk. Pizarro decides that just taking him hostage is the best idea until he does. And so they flee with Atahualpa back to like their ships, and they just hold him there. And demand, I think it was 2 rooms of silver and 1 room of gold of a certain size. And the Incans are like, negotiating with terrorists, definitely the best idea. Okay, we'll just give you the stuff. And then you can give us our emperor back and we'll all be happy, right? And so they produce. This is the best idea, right? Greedy Spaniards show up. They produce 2 rooms of silver, 1 room of gold, like immediately. And give it to him. He's like, what the fuck? Like, oh my god. I was kidding, sort of. And that went really poorly for them because then they execute Atahualpa and start conquering everyone, looking for gold. And the fact is, there was a ton of gold. It wasn't like the Aztec Empire, where actually there was some gold in the Aztec Empire, not like the mountains of gold they thought. Incan Empire, yes, there were in fact mountains of gold, and it was really bad for the Incan people because he just marched up the Andes. And, when one ecosystem goes down, you're all fucked. So, to be fair, the Incas actually fought back pretty well, and again, they had the Andes, so hunting down all the different sort of cities. It was not like Cusco is a big city as much as Cusco is a big meeting place with like lots of little cities surrounding it. And so, yeah, okay, so Cusco went down like that, and the Incan people fled to their little towns, but you had to get each and every single town. So, took Pizarro a lot more time. Funny story about Atahualpa. I don't know if this is true or not. I don't think anyone does. But the rumor about why they executed him, they actually buried him as a Christian. But it was not clear. It was a slap against the Incans or what exactly why they did this. But the rumor is that they said they gave him a Bible and they said this book speaks the truth. It contains the word of God. And Atahualpa took the book and held it up to his ear and said, it says nothing to me, and tosses it aside. And if you're ever given a book by some strange alien species and told that it speaks the word of God, don't hold it up to your ear and say, I hear nothing, toss it aside. Because they cut his head off right then and there, because is the myth. So back to, so now we've got the fall of the Incan Empire. So let's see what Brazil did during that time. So here's the real trick, right? You think this isn't going anywhere. But what they found out was if they cut down lots and lots of rainforest, they could produce this crop, this magical, delicious crop. Can you tell me what it is, Alan?
Sugar!
Yes, sugar. You know what sugar needs lots of?
Slaves!
Slaves! Slaves, slaves, slaves. All right, now we're cooking because that's what Portuguese are best at. Slaves. Not now, obviously.
Oh wow!
But they are now quite good at fishing and being a minor world power. So
They were the Lucians.
they did write the Lucians. That was also something impressive they did. But at that time, they were really good at slaves. And so this was compounded by this problem, this need for slaves was compounded by the fact that the Jesuits had taken an interest in the Indians, and there was this real problem with Brazil, which is that in order to that citizen was not really determined by your blood. I mean, when we say racism now, we really mean like racism, but racism back then was different. If you were Christian and like you've been Christian back through your family line for like a long time, it didn't really matter too much what color your skin was. Like you could even be black, and they wouldn't, and they didn't really care that much as long as you had money, a good Christian family, and a few other characters lived in a city, a few other things. And so that caused a problem because what the Jesuits were doing was they were building these things called aldeias, which were like little miniature English or Spanish or Portuguese towns. They look kind of like that, a big church in the center. You convert the Indians this way. What you do is you teach them to live in these little houses, send them to church, send them to the market, right? Send them out farming. That was a big thing. Jesuits needed food, sent the Indians out farming, good, hard work, make men out of them, right? Well, this went wrong in a number of ways, as you might expect. One was because farming does not make a man out of you in Indian culture. It is, in fact, women's work. Which, imagine if someone said, we are going to convert you to our religion, put all of you guys out with machine guns and army uniforms, and dressed all of you guys up in dresses and gave you sewing kits. They're like, this is how our society works.
I'd be pretty cool with machine. I'm kind of alright with that, but I see what you're attempting
to
to
be
make.
fair, they didn't have nearly as much of a problem with the women, especially because they weren't really trying to make them Christian, because they didn't believe, women had the faculty for spirituality back then as much as now. But they definitely had a lot of trouble with the guys getting them to do farming, because it was essentially like dressing them up in dresses and making them do sewing would be today. It was just a little uncomfortable. And after they've killed your family and dragged you away from their home and stored you in this village, that, by the way, is nothing like what your home, like this isn't home to an Indian. Like imagine, again, like someone took you out of your home and put you in like a little box and said, this is your home now. Like, remember, big communal lodges, food is right there, you don't have to go to the market and buy it. Pretty communal, right? Fire pit's right there. You go out here, you get killed by stuff in the jungle. So this was like terrifying. I have to like risk my life going out every time. I want to go to church. Not a good time, guys. Make me dress like women. Terrible. So that was going very, very poorly for the Jesuits at the time. But they were keeping the Indians from becoming slaves, because the Indians would be like, oh, I'm Christian, and then they wouldn't have to work as hard. Or at least they get work for like a small amount of money and some good old-fashioned family values as opposed to just being sent to labor in the fields. Let's see.